Okay, I'm on day 23. That is luteal phase. That is the temple of emotional intelligence and truth. And I'm here to talk to you all about it. The week before your period is where you feel I know in my lifts this week I have been feeling so weak. I was like, last week I was able to do more. And this was so hard. Why is this feeling so much harder? And I'm like, well, that's the voice of my luteal phase. This is the phase in your menstrual cycle where you feel the most. You feel emotional the most. And why is this important? How can we make this a good thing? We can make this a good thing by seeing everything that we have been avoiding. Okay? This points a flashlight to what we have been glossing over. We have been letting off the hook. The things that we are actually not okay with, like internally in our spirit, not okay with. And then like having our boundaries crossed, like anything. How we have been distracting ourselves with something like, this is the week or 2 weeks, depending. This is the week, especially right before your period, where all of that is not okay with you. And you want to change it. You want to do something about it. You want to speak up for it. You want to speak your truth. This is why this is called the Emotional Intelligence and Truth Portal. Okay? So, how do we operate inside this without blowing up on anyone? One, you have knowing that you're in this phase, you can give yourself way more grace than you have been giving yourself. 2, you can also warn people in your life that you're in your luteal phase. This is your most sad, depressive, like most sensitive phase. 2, this is actually where you would want that conversation about your raise, your any important conversation that you want to have it in this phase. Why? Because you will have the emotional wherewithal to speak and to actually have it land over here with the other person. As long as you do it with intention, right? Of course, if the intention is a good one, I don't think there's anything as bad intentions. There is actually that I said it out loud. If you have a good intention before you speak, that will be a good thing for you. Also, I'm a big person on self-pleasure, self-touch. So in your luteal phase is when you would not feel the most sexiest. You wouldn't want to please yourself at all. This is when you would want to indulge and then shame yourself for indulging in extra things and extra food, extra chocolate, extra sweets, and knowing that and still giving yourself the pleasure, right? Like self-pleasure, self-touch, like giving yourself things that you enjoy, regardless of how you feel, helps you take care of that inner child that's mad. Right? Just imagine like your inner child is mad, or if you are a parent, your child is mad, and you still want to let them know that you love them, even if they are not at their best. That's the vibe we want for this luteal phase. This temple portal of emotional intelligence and your truth. Okay? What's the other thing? Also, you will notice you'll start planning things out, especially when you know that during your bleed, that is your time of rest. So you'll start to meet and catch, you'll start to complete deadlines. You'll have the extra energy and the mindset energy, or you'll have the extra brain capacity to be able to meet those deadlines. And sometimes it's mostly creative too in nature, so that's awesome. But you're making sure that everything is squared away so that when you do get your bleed, you can actually fully rest and just you know? So our workouts are feeling more depleted and weak does not mean that we should not work out or move our bodies. We can change it. We just know that we're not as energetic as we are the previous weeks, right? And that's okay. We still want to show up because you can hold yourself accountable on loving this body still, okay? Cool. That is your luteal phase. We have our bleed. Our bleed is our temple of spiritual intelligence and inheritance. Inheritance, I say, because of our inherited wisdom from our ancestors, our lineage, and from being women. And the moon, like just all these cosmic things that are outside of us that are non-physical, we have access to that. This is where we are most intuitive, is during our bleed. That's why back then we have red tents where all the women who are menstruating come together, take care of each other, and just support one another. That is what we need. And why it's important to rest is because how you have your bleed and how you respond to your bleed, how you react to your bleed, how you are doing your bleed is a tell to how the rest of your this month's cycle is going to go. So if you give yourself that adequate rest, you will give yourself the energy coming up to your follicular phase, your ovulation. You're just going to have a better time this month if you actually give yourself the space to do nothing. I say for mine, I always give myself at least 1 hour to do nothing, even though my bleed lasts 3 to 5 days, depending, right? So during our bleed, we want to red tent. I have a document, probably down in the description below. I'll give you guys the link to a red tent checklist. This is really cool because I put it together. This is where you check in with yourself. This is where you're most intuitive. This is where you'll see exactly where you need to be. You check in with yourself with all of these. It's a huge list. And it's just check boxes. Like you unsubscribe to different emails, newsletters. You can check in with your home and family, how everyone is doing, how you could be better. You check in with your work and your career, your coworkers, your relationships, your friendships, your social life. You check in. This red tent checklist is really awesome. So I'll put that in this description down below for you to download. Start a Let's Bleed on It list. I have a bleed on it list. So throughout the month, doesn't matter what phase I'm in, if I have an idea, like, oh, hey, that would be a great idea, I'll type it in that list. And during my bleed, I will revisit that and see, okay, do I want to take this on this month or do I want to save it and maybe do it next month or maybe next year or something? Or maybe it's just a wash. Maybe this idea isn't mine. I don't know. And I'm okay with that. You want to do that? Then you do that. But you ultimately give yourself that space, right? Let's Bleed on It list is really pretty spectacular if you use it. Yeah, and that is our bleed. Now, after our bleed, we have our temple or portal of creative intelligence and imagination. SpongeBob. Imagination. Okay? This is your inner artist, your inner child. This is where you start to plan things. This is where you take things into action. This is where you are the most creative. This is where you create what you have seen and decided on during your bleed. You're going to create a plan for it. This is where your energy starts ramping up again. This is where you'll start to work out a little bit more. This is where your energy is, like I said, your energy is coming up. And you'll have energy to start scheduling out your dates with your people, with yourself, with your people. This is where you get to play. So I really insist on you having play dates with yourself, meaning taking yourself to a new place and checking it out. And why we do this is because we're most palpable for our imaginations to soar and get new ideas, to get new insights, the insights that have been there, but we haven't been able to see because we're so stuck on something else. So in this phase, in this portal of creative intelligence, you can actually tap in and imagine and visualize your life and your desires and what you want. And it's actually, you'll have the energy to actually do it, to make the plan, to set it forth and then have it become reality, which is so awesome. So play in this section, play in this portal, play. Inner artist, inner child, synonymous to each other. Okay, we are all creative beings. We create every single day. This is not a myth. This is completely why we are here, to expand the consciousness of the collective. And only we can do what we are supposed to do, okay? No one can take away the things that you are meant to have, as much as you cannot take away someone else's stuff. So there's plenty to go around. No lack here, just all good love, okay? That is the temple of creative intelligence and imagination. Now we have the most beautiful temple and portal of aesthetic intelligence and beauty. This is when we are ovulating. Yes, archetype the mother. This is when we feel our most sexy. This is where we feel our most magnetic. Sometimes I tell my clients, like, when the days of your cycle where you feel the most magnetic, you have to track that. And you know what I've been seeing? That, like, it goes different with seasons, right? So I notice every summer, my day 17 is my most magnetic. Everything is going my way. I have the lucky girl syndrome. I am attracting, like, so many compliments. I'm just radiating and oozing bright, sparkly, loving, sexiness. And like during winter, it's day 14, you know? So I'm like, okay, this is the beauty of tracking your cycle and seeing where your emotions are, where your moods are, all of that stuff, and getting to know yourself, getting to know the wisdom behind each portal, each temple of awareness, right? So with aesthetic intelligence, as you already know, your beauty heals the world. So you go out there, you be with people, right? You collaborate, you engage, you have fun. You party, you host a party if you want to. You can do whatever you want. And knowing that you're ovulating, that is going to be just like the juiciest vibe ever. And so once you take it on there, then, I mean, with ovulation, it's probably the shortest, but that's why that's why we're all just hanging on to it a little bit more, or we're diving into it a little bit more, because we know that it's very short-lived, but we also have every other month to look forward to our ovulation, our aesthetic intelligence portals. So that is it for our temples of awareness and the cycles of our menstruation. Let me know if there are any questions, comments, things that you want to know. There's so much more that I need to share, but I'll start here. Okay? I hope this is valuable for you. And also, if you want to learn more about it, I have a free course on my app. Just leave a comment in the comment section. Sparkle. Leave a comment, Sparkle, and then I'll give you access to that free course. Okay, I'll see you guys on the next video.